this transformer. You can imagine that in spite of the fact that we have even engaged with distribution company, we have even carried out intervention in different distribution companies, yet these things, it's like when we leave, these things are happening. So we want to continue to talk about it. We want consumers to know certain things that happen, certain things that they can do when it comes to certain responsibilities that is supposed to be performed by the distribution companies and their own responsibilities even as consumers. And that's why we, and even when it comes to educating, whether it is the businesses or even the consumers, it's a continuous one. You understand? Because sometimes what we found out is that some of the marketers or people who deal directly with the consumers don't really know some of these regulations. They don't really know some of these rules. So these things are two ways. In as much as we want the distribution companies to carry out their responsibilities, we also want the consumers to know that certain responsibilities actually is that of the distribution company and not theirs. And we want consumers to demand and insist on these responsibilities that belongs to the distribution company at all times.
Okay, so before we talk about these responsibilities, earlier you made mention of a program that is going to, come up very soon. So what's the program about? Can you shed more light on that?
Mariam, this is another program that the Commission has set up to, bring together all businesses in Nigeria. And the reason is because the Commission wants to address issues that has to do with exploitative pricing. It is very, very important because the Commission is deeply concerned about the increase in prices of food and consumer goods. So to that effect, the Commission has a program coming up which is tagged stakeholders engagement on exploitative pricing. And this program is going to take place here in Abuja. And we expect the people that we're expecting to participate at the program are businesses ranging from supermarkets, manufacturers, retailers, market association, very, very important. This meeting, why we're using this platform, this is the first time we will even talk about something that does not concern electricity on this platform. And it is because all Nigerians are actually facing the challenge, this serious challenge of increase of price of goods and services. So this event has been scheduled to hold on the 29th of August. And the venue for this event is Pave Hotel and Suites, plot 309, Amadu Bello Way, opposite NAF Conference Center, by Shima Filling Station, Kado, here in Abuja. And the program will hold by 11 a.m. Again, the program is scheduled to hold on the 29th of August at Pave Hotel and Suites, plot 309, Hamadu Bello Way, opposite NAV Conference Center. The time for the event again is 11. We want, businesses to know that their attendance is crucial, as decisions taken at the meeting to foster a better market culture that makes allowance for the traders' margin without exploiting buyers will be binding on all undertakings and all commercial activities within or having effects within Nigeria. Because we don't want a situation whereby some businesses will say they are not aware. We have sent letters out to businesses. We have also been using this platform to also inform businesses and also invite businesses. Like we said earlier, we expect all supermarkets here in Abuja and environs to be part of this meeting. We expect market association. We expect manufacturers. We expect companies to be part of this all important stakeholders engagement on exploitative pricing. It is very important because you might be running a supermarket, but you too might also be using transportation. I forgot, even transporters, because in one way or the other, transporters too are part of the value chain. So transporters are also invited for this all important stakeholders engagement.
Thank you very much.
pricing.
Okay, thank you very much for this information, and I also hope that AEDC will also attend this program because it's very important. The tariff band that was increased for band A has always been a cause of concern for people who are in band A. So I think it's very important for them to come so that they also can have a discussion with the organizers of this program and maybe talk about their pricing. People have been complaining a lot about the electricity bills, and aside from that, you also talked about responsibilities. I know that a lot of times consumers have had issues with discos, ranging from shortage of power supply, epileptic power supply, cutting their lines off from one issue to another, giving them outrageous bills. Don't you think it's very important for them to join this occasion?
Well, for now, you understand.
I think they should.
All businesses, we're inviting all businesses.
Okay.
And, even like you rightly pointed out, electricity can also be part of, but for now, we are not really looking at the distribution company because the distribution company, the electricity issues is a bit different, from what we're trying to address. We're trying to really look at manufacturers, we're actually looking at retailers, we're actually looking at distributors, and we're actually looking at supermarkets, because this issue concerns food. Remember,
yes,
food. There's a proverb, or is it an adage that they say that food does not have an enemy.
Exactly.
So we really want to address this issue in respect to what the Commission has set out to, because we are deeply concerned.
Okay.
The issue of the exploitation, I don't want to digress and then turn this platform to or this other consumer issue, but it is very important, and that's why we chose to use this platform today to invite businesses to ensure that they are part of the stakeholders' engagement on exploitative pricing. Mariam, if I begin to tell you what is happening, you will really understand the reason why the Commission is deeply concerned and the reason why the Commission actually set out to have this engagement with stakeholders. It is very important. We don't want stakeholders, businesses, supermarkets, market associations to say that the Commission did not inform them about anything. We want to take a holistic decision together as stakeholders in this game to ensure that consumers are not exploited and to ensure that businesses adhere to the market culture that will allow them to get their own margin. Okay. You can imagine sometimes even some businesses will take a margin that is nearly 200%.
Which is obviously, it's too much.
People tend to take advantage of situation.
Exactly.
We recognize the challenges that we are all facing here in Nigeria, but we don't want any form of exploitation. Okay, so we can go ahead to talk about the responsibilities of the distribution companies in Nigeria. So first of all, the distribution companies have the responsibility to ensure that supply of electricity actually gets into the various residents of consumers or businesses. It is the responsibility of the distribution company to ensure that this supply of electricity gets to consumers in a manner that is safe, in a manner that consumers don't suffer any form of injury as a result of this supply of electricity. Sometimes, in the course of supply of electricity, consumers have suffered certain challenges. So the distribution company is mandated to ensure that the supply of electricity designated, to consumers are getting to them in a manner that is very, very safe. The distribution company have the responsibility to actually distribute this electricity. They get them from the transmission company, and then ensure that this supply reaches the homes and businesses of industries in a manner that it should be. And another responsibility that the distribution company actually have is maintenance and operation of distribution network. The DISCOs are responsible for the maintenance, upgrade, and operation of the distribution network infrastructure, including transformer, distribution line, substation, and metering equipment. This is very important. Earlier I was telling you that I got a call during the weekend.
In Bauchi.
And this call, is just an example. Even before coming here, a consumer also brought a complaint to the office about their faulty transformer. In fact, I had to even tell the consumer he has submitted the complaint with the office. So this responsibility of maintaining and ensuring that some of these facilities are well maintained and then they are up to standard. Where a transformer needs upgrade, it should be upgraded. Where a transformer needs a replacement, it should be replaced. They are to ensure that their network. I tell you, a lot of things usually happen. When, so for example, here in Abuja, it's recently that I've been seeing a bit of improvement. But prior to now, once any equipment goes faulty, hey, this will take thy kingdom come to be tracing where the fault is. You understand? And then all this transmission line, the substation and whatever that they are supposed to use for their operations in their network is their duty. It is not the duty of the consumer to come and start doing the maintenance on infrastructure. You understand? Infrastructure that belongs to their network. Okay. It is not. Okay, so the distribution company needs to know. We, the electricity consumers, also need to know that it is the distribution company that has the responsibility to maintain and ensure that operations of distribution network are up to standard. Another responsibility that the distribution company has is that of metering and billing. So that let's get this right. You know, Mariam, on this platform we have talked about severally on how consumers will have to even be the one to pay for their meters.
Yes.
And that is why the distribution company needs to really know some of this responsibility. In as much as consumers do take the pain to even buy their meters, originally this responsibility belonged to the distribution company. So it is just because of the metering gap that certain regulation came up, because the distribution company, yes, have the responsibility to meter consumers, but to meter them, they keep giving all manner of complaints. And that's why some form of, what was the word here now? Intervention, some form of intervention, even by the government, has been brought, has been introduced to ensure that the metering gap, because we all know that metering is the only way, the surest way that consumers' consumption can be determined. Other, forms of billing consumers really is just, a way of trying to ensure that consumers are not really shortchanged, or monies of consumers are not overtaken or overcharged. But in the real sense, the only way to determine a consumption of an electricity consumer is by metering.
Okay.
So this metering and billing, these costs are responsible for providing accurate and reliable metering system to consumers. They should ensure that consumers are billed fairly based on their electricity consumption in accordance with approved tariff rates. So this is where the issue of the tariff classes will now come in. A consumer who is placed on tariff band A shouldn't pay beyond what is expected.
Okay.
And then a consumer who is, for example, placed on tariff band B shouldn't pay the tariff of band A. Band B customer, you understand? Band C should not pay band B rates because they don't get the same kind of supply. We have said this almost all the time when we come on this platform. We always will brush, and just do some form of updates to consumers concerning their different tariff classes and what they expect. So, a band A customer is expected to get a minimum supply of 20 hours on a daily basis, while a band B customer is expected to get a minimum supply of 16 hours. Band C is expected to get a minimum supply of 12 hours, while that of Band D is expected to get a minimum supply of 8 hours. And then the least tariff class is Band E, the consumer is expected to get a minimum supply of 4 hours on a daily basis. So it is very important for us as electricity consumers to know these different classes we are assigned, so that when we're getting short of these expectations, short of these services, we will ask, we can protest. And the reason why we can actually protest or contest the tariff ban is if we're promised to have a certain number of hours. For example, if you're on band A and you're expected to get 20 hours and what you get is that of band D, you should protest because you have paid a higher tariff. So it's good for us to constantly know. If we don't know our tariff class today, let's make effort to know them. And how can we do that? We can either visit the websites of the different distribution companies to know our tariff class, or we can visit the nearest business unit of our electricity distribution company, or we can, if we're unmetered consumers, let's do well to check our bills, because we have mandated the distribution company to ensure that they clearly spelled out the different classes of tariff that consumers are assigned.
Absolutely.
The reason is because consumers don't even have the opportunity to choose the tariff class they are assigned.
Like yesterday, I was discussing with someone, so we got talking about the tariff. So he was I asked him, what tariff band do you belong to? He said, I belong to tariff band A, but it's very expensive. I want to move to tariff band B. I said, where do you stay? He said he stays in Asokoro. I said, there's no way you can move to band B because you don't have, as a consumer, you don't have the right to choose your own tariff band because of the place. So the tariff ban is being chosen by the various disco because that is the availability of what is expected in that area.
Oh yes, it's because an assessment was carried out.
Exactly.
You understand? And then it is because of the infrastructure that are available at different locations.
Yes.
And therefore, the tariff classes are being assigned by by the distribution company. So consumers don't have the opportunity. But where consumers can actually protest is if you are assigned on a higher tariff and then the services you get is that of a lower tariff, you can protest to say that, you are not getting these services. Therefore, they should place you on the services, on the tariff class they are able to provide services for. Okay, so another very important responsibility that the distribution company have is customer service. Mariam, customer service is one of the issues that consumers face. Discos have a responsibility to provide responsive and effective customer service. We don't want to hear a situation whereby consumers will even write a complaint and then the distribution company will turn them down. They have to be responsive.
Exactly.
Customer service is what even keeps businesses. It is their duty. Consumers have the right. One of the enshrined consumer rights that I've always said on any platform I find myself carrying out sensitization is the right to complain, the right to express dissatisfaction on every product, on every services. You understand? So
yes,
there is no reason why the distribution company will not. Part of the responsibility of distribution company is addressing consumer complaints. So that is done with the customer service. So we are serious about the distribution company adhering to their responsibility of providing customer service. And the customer service is not just supposed to be just anyhow. It's supposed to be effective. Addressing consumer complaints is key. And not just addressing the complaints, addressing it promptly. So
That's
is very important. We have to stress this. And another very important responsibility of the distribution company is tariff implementation. Discos are responsible for implementing approved tariff rates set by the regulator. They must ensure that they don't go beyond what is approved. Some of the complaints that come to the commission is even a situation whereby the regulator will approve a rate. It happened. It happened when the band A tariff was reviewed. Exactly. And that was when Abuja Electricity Distribution Company got slammed.
Yes.
The approved tariff review was for band A. But they now went and applied the tariff, rates on all the other classes, on all the other bands. So, and in terms of implementing the tariff class, they are supposed to actually be transparent in billing, and then they are supposed to provide information to the consumers. And when the review of this Band A tariff ban came up, one of the things that the distribution company is also expected to be doing is also to be providing information.
Yes.
If, for example, anything at all is going to make them not to be able to supply the required number of electricity that the Band A customer is entitled to get on a daily basis, they are supposed to provide that reason. An adequate compensation is supposed to follow. So this is very, very important for the distribution company, to know. Another very important one is safety and security. Discos are responsible for ensuring the safety and security of their own distribution infrastructure and the consumers they serve. They should maintain proper safety standards and respond to emergency situation promptly. Mariam, you can imagine that most of the time that consumers will even bring complaints to us to say that certain equipment of the distribution companies are vandalized. And then sometimes, I know this particular issue happened even in Jos Electricity Distribution Company, where consumers are the ones that are now compelled to now
to buy the facilities
that is vandalized. And I think on a short inspection that we carried out when we went for our intervention program, we even saw that even to fence their transformer houses, substations, the distribution company does not do it. Even when we visited one location, one community around Nasarawa State, we found out that, thank God, that was even a joint, inspection. It was an inspection we carried out with NEC. The Fccpc was there, NEMSA was there, and we found out even to padlock the substation, it wasn't done. And then when this equipment are stolen or vandalized, the distribution company will now in turn ask the consumers to be the one to repair it. The safety and security is the responsibility of the distribution company, in as much as we also talk to consumers about their own responsibilities.
Exactly.
To the extent that the consumers too must be able to ensure that the consumers must be able to ensure that if they see any illegal activity happening around their area, they have a responsibility to ensure that they report it to the appropriate security operatives. But the primary responsibility of safeguarding this infrastructure is that of the distribution company. It's not for the distribution company to now come and transfer this responsibility to the consumers. Why? People cannot begin to change or give responsibility that is not theirs to consumers.
Exactly.
We recognize that we also have our responsibility in our environment as consumers. We shouldn't allow any form of illegality to happen. Okay. So another responsibility of the distribution company is load management. The distribution company have a responsibility to manage electricity load within their distribution network. They are to implement load shedding or load and demand, you understand? And this is very important because especially if when they are even trying to load shed, they have to do it equitably. This thing usually happens around the time where the supply of electricity becomes very low. During the dry season, when they cannot even generate electricity.
Yes.
Issues, you hear certain location. We even used to talk about it on this platform to say that if, for example, Band A in different location should enjoy the same hours. We don't want a situation whereby Band A in Maitama will be given the preference, you understand, than
other places.
Band A, let's say in
Garki.
No, Garki is even close. Band A in I want to even say Buari.
Buari.
Or Gwagwalada. You understand?
So
as
which
far as
means
you're
those-
on band A, because your tariff is the same.
Yeah, so those ones staying in Buhari, let's for instance, those ones staying in Buhari do suffer issue of
That is based on
shortage
the
of
feedback.
light. Those
Based on
ones
the
in
feedback,
band A.
yes, feedback we get around. You should also know now.
Yes, I know, definitely. We've been
understand? Because
hearing a
all
lot
of
of
us-
complaints about that. Those ones in Maitama, in Asokoro,
So-
in Aso Drive are the ones enjoying band A,
when
20 hours
when there
of
is
light.
load shedding, you understand? The load shedding should be implemented, the way transparently.
Okay.
That is what we expect. Okay, so and then another very important responsibility of the distribution company is compliance with regulation. This course must comply with all applicable regulation, policies, and standards set by the regulatory bodies such as Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission and the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. We keep saying, for us, even as a commission, we have a mandate to enforce all enactment that has to do with consumer protection and competition issues in Nigeria.
Exactly.
So therefore, if there are regulations that have to do with consumer protection, we don't even talk too much. For us, what we emphasize is adherence to the regulations.
Okay.
That is just what we expect from the distribution companies. Okay.
All right, thank you very much. You've explained a lot to us about the responsibilities of our various discos. I think before we open our telephone lines, let me quickly just do a brief recap on that. All right. So first of all, Mrs. Bridget talked about good supply of electricity as at when due. That's one of the responsibilities of our various disco. You should ensure that all consumers have good supply of electricity, which is safe, please. That's very important, because a lot of times we've been having complaints from our consumers that sometimes they have low power of supply. Sometimes the power comes very high and it ends up destroying their properties, their gadgets, their electronics. So please make sure that when you're giving out your supply, it should be adequate and safe for all consumers. Then she talks about maintenance operation, which is another responsibility of our distribution network. So if there's any upgrade, maintenance of facilities, that should be the responsibility of the disco and not consumers, because most times too, consumers will call us and tell us that, okay, we've been asked to buy meter. Yes, we've been asked to buy meter, we've been asked to buy transformer, we've been asked to buy this, buy that, we've been asked to upgrade our own electricity. That is not your responsibility for a consumer. Please take note. That is the responsibility of the various distribution company which you are assigned to. So if there's anything that has to do with management, maintenance, ensure you engage your various distribution companies, and that's not your responsibility. The metering and billing is also very important. It's also another responsibility of our disco. They are responsible for metering. Yes, just as Mrs. Bridget has explained, the metering, that providing meters for consumer, is actually the responsibility of the disco. But, due to some circumstances, it's now the consumers that are buying the meters themselves. But this meter is supposed to come with a credit. Am I correct?
No. When consumers key into like the meter asset providers, the consumers are expected to get a subsequent reimbursement. Yes, and the reimbursement is supposed to come as a way of getting credit for some required number of months, which is 36 months.
Okay.
And we have advised consumers to keep tab when the reimbursement starts. And I've said even on this platform that a distribution company like the Jos Electricity Distribution Company has started their own reimbursement process. The only thing that is expected of consumers is to keep tab of this reimbursement, to know the total of what the consumer gets at the end of the reimbursement, because the consumer is expected to get, for example, if you invested 40,000 as the cost of your meter, you are expected to get 40,000 in credit.
40,000 in credit.
Yes, so that is how it works.
All right, thank you for that information. Then excellent customer service is another important thing that every distribution company is supposed to know. In fact, aside from distribution companies, you as an organization, whether you work in an organization, you work with the government, anywhere, even if you're an individual who owns a business, customer service is very important. We are lagging when it comes to customer service in Nigeria. I've been to several places, and the way I got, the receptionists or the people who are managing the institution or the particular service attended to me was very poor. So customer service, I am sorry to digress. Mrs. Bridget, aside from this price exploitation you people are going to talk about, I think people should really talk about customer service because it is something that is a minus in Nigeria. I am saying this with all passion. Customer service is a minus in Nigeria. When you go to 10 organizations, from that 10 organizations, you hardly get 7 good organizations that have good customer service. Please, prove me wrong. You hardly get 7 good organizations that have good customer service. That's a major problem. So customer service is very important, and that's also applicable to various distribution companies. So she talked about tariff implementation. So DISCOs are responsible for tariff rates approved by the regulator. So if you're giving your consumers their various tariff rates, make sure that it is approved by the regulator and not any other thing. Then there should be adequate compensation as well. So when we talk about compensation, when there's a there's a power outage and consumers suffer the power outage for some days, at least they should be compensated. Compensated in the sense that when they are going to pay their bills, you don't expect them to pay the bills of, normal supply of power you've been giving them, because now they've been several days of outage. So that should be deducted. I think that's a fair compensation. Then safety and security. Safety and security is also very important. You're supplying electricity to your consumers. It should be safe. It should be safe, and you should do it in a secured manner that it won't affect the consumers. Then load management is also another responsibility of the various distribution companies. I hope we've got that right. So now it's time for us to open our telephone lines for you to ask questions, to make your contributions. If you have any other complaints, please feel free to do so. The number to call if you want to join us on this program is 090 57 07 8416. The number to call is 090 57 07 8416. Don't forget, please, when you call us, turn down the volume of your radio or your gadget, okay? Before you get in touch with us, okay? I think this is a call. Let's hear from this caller. Hello, good morning. Yes, good morning. Welcome to FCCPC. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Sorry, we can't hear you. Your line is breaking. Oh, sorry. Your voice is very low. We can't hear you. Please call us back.
And I want to advise also that consumers can do well to send us SMS, okay, or you can also send us WhatsApp on the same line, and we'll do well to read your message or your WhatsApp message. And I also advise consumers actually to also reach out to us, and because this conversation can continue. I think we have.
All right, let's take this one. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, are you there? Okay, I think we lost this call.
Let me see.
Okay. So please do call us on the number 090 5707 8416. That's the number to call if you want to join us on today's program. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you. Welcome to FCCPC Hour. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, my name is Fccpc.
Okay. Could you please turn down the volume of your radio?
All right.
Your radio or TV set. Your name is what again?
All right. My name is Fccpc.
Okay, Teso.
Yes.
Okay, what's your complaint, sir?
Yeah, my complaint is I'm staying in a place where we are rationing light and I'm paying the normal bill.
Where is that precisely?
Apowumba.
Okay, Apowumba. Okay. All right. So you're paying the normal bill, but the light has been rationed.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So have you complained to your disco about it?
Oh, I haven't precisely, but when I heard that complaint can be made on this spot, I just laid.
Okay, just hold on for Mrs. Bridget. She's going to address you now.
Okay, so Mr. I didn't quite get your name, but I will advise that Mr. Teso, what the first thing you are supposed to do is actually to write it to the distribution company, and then you cannot at this point we cannot really say what is normal because this is going to be subject to investigation. If a load shedding is being done in your area, I expect that whatever bill is going to be given to you should be based on the load shedding. You understand? Because there might be different reasons why load shedding is done. So, but first of all, you need to write to your distribution company and demand them to explain to you why your area is even being load shedded, so that you will know. And if you are dissatisfied with the outcome of the whatever response your distribution company provide for you, then you can now escalate it to us and then attach the previous acknowledged copy of the complaint you submitted to the distribution company. Okay, because we can't just say whether as a result of the load shedding you have been overbilled or shortchanged or whatever. So that's what I will advise, and that's why we've always been advocating for consumers to be metered, because if you are metered, you can actually be in charge of your consumption, and whatever it is, if there's no supply, you know that your unit is there for you. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Teso, for joining us. Okay. All right. The number again is 090-5707-8416. Okay, don't forget to call us if you have any complaint or you want to make a contribution. Hello, it's afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon, sir. Welcome to FCCPC Hour. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Adebola Afelumo, calling from Wamba Suleja.
Okay. All right, please go ahead.
My complaint is that February this year, I was in by B. They now moved me from B to B. I went to the office to complain. I said it was a mistake. They returned me back to D. In April, they now moved me back to B. And I go there and complain. They said I should write a letter to that effect. I wrote a letter to the customer care to that effect. They said they are going to solve my problem. After spending more, they not solve the problem. I went back there. They say I've already copied the airport. I solely get and Abuja that can solve the problem. Say it was a mistake. It was a mistake. Today they did not solve the problem. Instead of revising it to band D, but this month they now moving to band A. Only we even have 6 hours light.
Okay.
The Kwamba along my girl Timbache, only we have a 6 hours light.
Okay.
So now they move me to band A instead of revising me to band D. No, I'm selling my phone like I even charge them. If I buy 1,000 naira card, they only give me 4 units and cannot even serve me a day instead of 27 units before.
Okay.
So that is just my complaint.
Okay, sir. Mr. Bolaji.
Yes.
Mr. Bolaji, okay, your complaint is heard.
Hello?
So we have heard your complaint.
I'm complaining.
Yes.
Yes, we've heard you.
So we have heard you. We have heard you. What you are going to do is you are going to do, you have to escalate your complaint to us, and after this program or before the end of this program, we will give you the platform where you send your complaint to us, so that we'll provide intervention. We have received this kind of complaints from other consumers, and your own too will be addressed and redressed. Okay. So, yes, so you can actually send us what you need to do. We will require the acknowledged copy of the complaint you forwarded to the distribution company, and then you write a complaint to us. You can write the complaint to us and send it to our email address, which is contact@fccpc.gov.ng. contact@fccpc.gov.ng, and then you can also send us a WhatsApp. When a WhatsApp of that complaint after you send it to contact@fccpc.gov.ng, so that we will be able to monitor it for you directly. And our electricity dedicated phone number is 081 1987 7785. You can send us WhatsApp on this our dedicated electricity phone number, which is 081.
Can you come again?
081 1987 7785 is our dedicated electricity phone number. You can, after you send your complaint to us on our official email address, which is contact@fccpc.gov.ng, you can copy us, send it to us on our WhatsApp so we can follow it up for you. Okay? And for other consumers too that are listening, they can send their complaint to contact@fccpc.gov.ng, or you can visit our website, which is www.fccpc.gov.ng. You can also file in your complaints there. Or if you want to visit our office to file your complaints, we are located at number 23 Jimmy Carter Street, Asokoro. Number 23 Jimmy Carter Street, Asokoro. And if you want to also interact with us on our social media platform, it is at FCCPC Nigeria. You can see us there on Facebook or X or Instagram or Thread, so we'll be there to interact with you on these different platforms we have just listed out.
Thank you.
You're
All right,
welcome.
thank you very much, Mr. Bolaji. Thank you for joining us, okay? So I think we have a message.
Okay.
All right, we have a message. Maybe we'll just take the last call before we call it a day, but I think there's a message, so let's read the message we have here.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take this one. This is going to be our last call. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to FCCPC Hour. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Mr. Sunday, calling from Galadima.
Okay, Mr. Sunday from Galadima. What's your complaint, contribution?
My complaint is that we have a meter before,
Okay.
so the meter got an issue. So they just came and they removed the meter. Two of them a year plus, they have been using it like that. So now they just came and remove our life, but after at least a month plus. So like, they think we must buy another meter. So, and the setting up the meter is one of them.
Okay, Mr. Sunday, the meter that was removed, did you buy that meter? Did you buy?
Yeah, no, that was not free.
Okay. Okay, no problem. You know what you do? Have you written an official letter to the distribution company?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so now they disconnected you. You are now without supply of electricity, or you are placed on direct?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you placed on direct or you are without electricity?
If we are without, you are charging us direct, you are paying them without even bill. I'm just paying them like that person.
Okay, Mr. Sunday, what I will advise you is, because for us to be able to understand you properly, you can either call us on the number we gave out earlier. I'm going to read it out, which is 081 1987 7785, or you can come to the office so that we can be able to have the opportunity to assess your complaint very well, because there's a whole lot that have to do with metering. Under metering, if your meter develop fault, it is expected that the distribution company will fix the meter or replace the meter within 48 hours. And if they will not be able to do that, if they are going to place you, they don't even have the right to tag you as an on-meter consumer. If they can't provide a meter, they are supposed to take your previous average consumption, and that's what you'll be paying as your bill, pending when they are able to either replace or fix your meter. So I really don't know. So you have to bring even whatever bill they are giving to you, and then maybe with the previous consumption, let's just be able to see whatever it is that the distribution company is doing with you. Let's see what plan they have, whether they have a plan to even replace your meter, and why are they even asking you to buy meter? On what ground? We have to really, your issue is subject to a whole lot of investigation. So you can either call us to have more conversation with you, or you can visit our office so we have a better conversation with you, so we know how to address your issue. Okay?
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Sunday. I think that's the last call we're going to take on this program. So let's take the message. We have a few messages to read before we call it a day.
Okay.
Yes. A message just dropped.
Okay.
So I think it's a complainant. So let's hear from...
We can't really, these are not,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so I think it's not a message. Okay, it's not a message that has to do with FCCPC. Okay, so quickly, Mrs. Bridget, before we call it a day, kindly give us your social media platforms, your numbers, and how we can get in touch with you if you have any complaints.
Okay, yes, like we said, we have an electricity dedicated phone number which consumers can reach out to us to have more conversation with us even after this program, which is 081 1987 7785. And then consumers can also visit our office here in Abuja, which is located at number 23 Jimmy Carter Street at Sokoro. Number 23 Jimmy Carter Street at Sokoro. And if you want to visit our website, it's www.fccpc.gov.ng, www.fccpc.gov.ng, and our email address remains contact@fccpc.gov.ng, contact@fccpc.gov.ng. And again, Mariam, I don't want businesses to forget our engagement on
29th of
on
August.
the 29th of August. And you remember the stakeholders engagement is exploitative, or price, it has to do with price exploitative by
stakeholders
by businesses. Stakeholders engagement on price exploitative. So let's not forget, we expect all businesses, we expect supermarkets, we expect manufacturers, we expect market association, we expect transporters to gather at Pave Hotel and Suites, which is opposite NAV Conference Center. Pave Hotel and Suites are in Ahmadu Bello Way. Businesses should do well to attend because the meeting is crucial. Reason being that whatever decision taken at the meeting is going to be binding on all businesses to address the issues of increase and high prices of goods and services, which is exploitative.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. We've come to the end of our program, FCCPC Hour on Human Rights Radio and Television 101.1 FM, the station that redefines broadcasting. Till we'll come your way, same time next week, same station. Don't forget to join us. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. My name is Maria Mubaka. Do have a beautiful afternoon, and bye for now.